What happens when a young soldier in his 30s seizes power in a country long dominated by foreign interests, terrorism, and economic despair? What happens when he wraps himself in the legacy of Thomas Sankara, the iconic African revolutionary who shook the world in the 1980s? And what happens when he is hailed as a pan-African hero abroad, while critics at home warn of creeping authoritarianism? Welcome to the world of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the military leader of Burkina Faso, the man some call the last African revolutionary, and others see as a dangerous autocrat in the making. Today, we dive deep into Traoré's growing profile, his contradictions, and the battle for Africa's soul. Strap in. This is not just about Burkina Faso, but about an entire continent at a crossroads between sovereignty and subjugation, between liberation and repression. The rise of a captain. In September 2022, a little-known army captain named Ibrahim Traoré overthrew Burkina Faso's transitional government. At the time, Burkina Faso was bleeding. Terrorist attacks were carving the country apart. Foreign forces claimed to be helping, and yet villages kept burning. Young, charismatic, and wearing the unmistakable red beret associated with Thomas Sankara, Traoré instantly became a symbol of rebellion against the status quo. He presented himself not as a career politician, but as a soldier of the people. And the people responded. Mass rallies erupted in Ouagadougou, brandishing flags not of France or America, but of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and increasingly Russia. For millions across Africa, Traoré represented a new face of defiance. He was young, outspoken, unafraid to name France as a neo-colonial power, and bold enough to expel French troops outright. But with every rise comes scrutiny. As Traoré's star grew, so did the whispers. Could this fiery captain deliver on his promises? Or was he just another strongman cloaked in revolutionary rhetoric? The Sankara connection. You cannot talk about Traoré without talking about Thomas Sankara. Sankara, assassinated in 1987, remains one of Africa's most beloved leaders. He fought imperialism, rejected foreign aid dependency, championed women's rights, and planted millions of trees to battle desertification. He renamed the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, the land of upright people. Traoré knows this history, and he leans on it heavily. From his speeches invoking sovereignty to his military outfits mimicking Sankara's iconic beret, Traoré positions himself as Sankara's spiritual heir. He has supported the construction of a massive Thomas Sankara memorial in Ouagadougou, and his government has promoted cultural events linking today's struggle with Sankara's vision. But here's the contradiction. Sankara was deeply democratic in spirit. He encouraged debates, accountability, and the involvement of civilians in shaping their destiny. Traoré, on the other hand, has dissolved Burkina Faso's independent electoral commission, tightened control over media, and postponed elections indefinitely. Can a man who centralizes power while invoking Sankara's name truly embody his legacy, or is it a carefully crafted performance? The pan-African hero Traoré's influence doesn't stop at Burkina Faso's borders. Across Africa, especially in the Sahel, his face is on posters, murals, and social media memes. He is celebrated alongside Mali's Assimi Goïta and Niger's Abdourahmane Tiani as part of a new Sahelian axis of resistance. Together, they've expelled French troops, rejected Western aid conditionalities, and announced the creation of the Alliance of Sahel States. OAS. In speeches, Traoré frames Burkina Faso as part of a larger pan-African rebirth. He speaks of industrializing Africa, achieving food sovereignty, and rejecting debt traps. Young Africans across the continent cheer him as a hero who dares to say what older leaders whispered, but never acted on. And yet critics warn that this pan-African persona is part myth-making. For while Burkina Faso proclaims sovereignty, it increasingly leans on Russia for military support and China for infrastructure. Is this genuine independence? or just swapping one dependency for another. Traore insists these are partnerships based on respect. But the jury is still out. State-led development vs. reality. Traore champions state-led development as the pathway to African liberation. He calls for industrializing Burkina Faso, creating jobs through state projects, and nationalizing key resources. This resonates deeply with citizens who've seen decades of privatization and rich elites while ordinary people starve. Projects are announced with fanfare. New dams, new factories, new schools. Propaganda videos show tractors rolling through fields, soldiers helping farmers, and crowds cheering progress. But here's the hard truths. Burkina Faso remains one of the world's poorest nations. Terrorist attacks continue. Inflation bites. And much of the government's ambitious promises are underfunded, symbolic, or delayed. Critics say Traore's government is more focused on image than substance, building a cult of personality around him as the young liberators, rather than tackling systemic economic collapse. Supporters counter that transformation takes time, and that his first mission, sovereignty, is already a historic achievement. The authoritarian drift, and this brings us to the darker side of Traore's rise. While hailed abroad as a pan-African hero, at home his government has grown increasingly repressive. Independent media outlets face intimidation. Opposition figures are sidelined. Civil liberties are restricted under the banner of national security. The dissolution of the Electoral Commission was a turning point. Many Burkinabe who once believed elections would eventually return now fear the military junta intends to stay indefinitely. And then came the criminalization of homosexuality, a move framed as defending traditional values, but widely condemned by human rights organizations as a dangerous rollback of freedoms. Critics argue this shows Traore is not building a revolutionary democracy, but enforcing conservative authoritarianism. The contradictions sharpen. Is he Sankara's heir, or a populist strongman who wears Sankara's image as camouflage? The global media battles. Part of Traore's growing profile is fueled not just by policy, but by media warfares. In African social media, he is a superstar. His fiery speeches circulate like wildfire. His face is photoshopped onto revolutionary posters, and TikTok clips portray him as the African Che Guevara. In Western media, however, he is often painted as a dangerous demagogue aligned with Russia. They emphasize his crackdown on freedoms, his alliance with Moscow, and his role in destabilizing the region. This duality, hero at home, villain abroad, is exactly what makes Traore such a fascinating figure. He embodies the clash between Africa's demand for sovereignty and the West's insistence on liberal democracy. His contradictions are not just personal, they reflect the contradictions of a continent wrestling with freedom and control. What the future holds. So, where does Traore go from here? His supporters see him as the beginning of a new era, a bold, young revolutionary who will industrialize Burkina Faso, unite the Sahel, and inspire Africa's youth to reclaim their destiny. His critics warn of a looming authoritarian state that silences dissent, weaponizes nationalism, and risks trading French domination for Russian dependence. One thing is certain: Traore has captured the imagination of millions. He has turned Burkina Faso, a country once dismissed as marginal, into the epicenter of pan-African debate. Whether he becomes the continent's next Sankara or its next cautionary tale will depend on his ability to deliver real change, not just rhetoric. Please like, subscribe, and comment to help keep this channel going. Ibrahim Traoré is a man of contradictions. He is at once a liberator and a jailer, a visionary and a populist, a revolutionary and a ruler consolidating power. His rise tells us something profound: that Africa is hungry for heroes, but also vulnerable to myths. So the question remains: is Traoré building a future of sovereignty and justice? Or is he another chapter in the long story of strongmen who promised liberation but delivered repression? History is watching, and so is the world.